welcome to Podbean Amplify. This is your weekly podcast where we discuss anything about podcasting. My name's Erica, and this is Shay.
Hello, friends. Welcome back to Podbean Amplified. I'm so excited. Erica, I have to ask you, how was your weekend?
Father's Day weekend. It was good, you know.
Oh, it was. Yes.
You forgot about Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day
Happy
to all the
Father's Day.
fathers out there.
Yep. So
Okay, and what'd you do?
just a simple dinner with my family, my dad. My mom and my sister came from the Philippines, so having all the family together is really nice to have it.
That's really cool. I love.
How about you?
What did you? I actually did an Erica.
Is that all?
I sat on the couch and I reclused, and I isolated, and I was watching TV with my cats. I took a lot of naps. I'm sure you're more creative at home, but I was a couch potato.
No, I mean, I would do that just to recharge. So if you felt recharged after that, then that's the way. Self-isolate.
I felt like I needed another week.
Oh. Go for it.
Dude, it's been so hot. If you don't know,
Yeah.
we've mentioned it a few times in Las Vegas. It is currently 107 degrees at 12:30 p.m. on the random Wednesday in June. And it's so hot. I need the nearest lemonade stand. Speaking of lemonade stands, I remember when I was a child, like making lemonade. Obviously, I didn't do like the whole lemonade stand selling lemonade but I've made lemonade before and it was fun. Have you ever participated in, a lemonade stand, or have you bought from?
No, because I don't really grow up here in the States.
Oh, okay.
So we don't really have like that type of, like little lemonade stand. But we do sell other things on the side of the street. So.
Oh, okay, something similar to lemonade-esque.
We don't have. I wouldn't say it's a lemonade stand, but we have like stores just like by the houses, and we would buy like an ice candy, like a little ice pop
cute.
instead of like a lemonade and all that, because we don't really have lemons.
Oh, what?
I mean, where I came from, it's like lemons is expensive.
Oh, okay.
Lemons are expensive, so we use like calamansi in
Oh,
like a little
okay.
like lime.
Like regionally, it's far.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I see.
So it's not very common for us to have like a lemonade or any lemonade stand. And if we want like a lemonade juice, we would just buy it off the store.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
It's probably more expensive to make it yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I feel like it's more expensive to make it yourself nowadays. But speaking of lemonade stands, did you know that there are only, I think it's 13, 14 states in the U.S. that have passed the lemonade stand law, which allows children to sell lemonade without securing a health permit.
A health permit?
Yes. So only 14. We are one of them. Las Vegas, Nevada. Woohoo. So kids, get out there and sell your lemonades because it's hot. But we are one of the only states out of 14 that have passed the lemonade stand law, allowing children to sell without a permit.
Oh.
So you have to have a permit in order to sell.
A lemonade? By like in front of your house?
Yeah. You got to
Just
buy
have
an
a business.
expensive permit to make $5.
How much are like permits? Like,
That's a good question. Let
like
me-
if it's a kid that would sell like lemonade and would want to start like a lemonade stand because I just want to get a bit of money, and now you have a problem to get a permit.
No, that's true. Oh my gosh. I'm looking it up. Why did I choose Reddit to look it up? Because it's just everybody putting in their 2 cents. Just tell me how much a permit is. It's usually quite low, it says.
I don't have internet.
But I mean, are you really going to take their profits before they even start? But it brings me to this video. I'll play it and then we'll talk about it.
Calling the cops on this family that's trying to raise money for some camp thing.
Big Bear Camp, 6th grade, doesn't need to be supported. Well, I'm not the person doing any illegal thing. You have fun with that. I've got his plate number. I'm publishing it.
This is a woman who's got way too much time on her hands. Like, why? It's none of your business. And why are you so mad about it? There's no reason. If everything you think is happening, which I don't know what she thinks is happening, why does it matter to you? Who are you? Do you have children? Do you have a rival like camping trip? Do you hate? Did lemonade kill your father in the 80s? Like, what is it?
She was shaking. You saw that?
Yeah. Like, oh my God. First of all, I understand there's like this weird little stigma now going around lemonade stands because mothers are attaching their little side hustle next to it. So like they would sell cookies or pastries or bakery items. And that's why they I want to assume, I don't know 100%, but it's why they have the law in place of like you need a permit in order to sell lemonade. However, like how much is a woman really going to profit being out there with their child? She's probably a stay-at-home mom. And it's like, let them make a buck. Why do you have to take a little bit? Boy is going to make at most, how much do you think in a day? In a day. And it's not going to be a consistent everyday thing.
Less than 150, depending on like how much they charge for the
much they charge, how many they sell, how active is the community. Do you got cousins coming over? Is your family barbecue going on in the back? Like, a lot of things, but I'd say maybe 100, 150 at best, like your best day ever, killing it in the summer.
Yep. It's not. I feel like it's not just about money too. It's for this one, when kids want to have like a lemonade stand, it's just for experience. It's a part of their childhood. So having to have a permit kind of like make them like, why do I have to worry about this? You know what I mean? It's just for fun. We're just trying to do this because we want to experience to sell something, like just something simple and innocent.
Just like a business loan, you gotta be in the negative before you're in the positive. Like what?
Start them young,
little kids, and then also you have to think about this is a thing to do during the summer on your free time. It's teaching you, a business. You're selling, you're producing, you're counting the money, you're cash exchanging. And so there are so many kids now robbed of that opportunity, robbed of a nice summer day with their friends, having a lemonade stand. I know that was something that we used to do, go play outside, but it's different now. Just make sure when you selling lemonade, you have a permit because Miss Karen, Shaky Bojangles over there with her phone. Right. Is going to record you.
Jesus. She got a lot of time in her hands.
She does. It's like, girl, go get your own lemonade stand. Let me go record you. Also in the news, shout out to Carl Azus. The Golden Globes to add Best Podcast in 2026.
Oh, wow. Podcast?
We've been saying it for 3 weeks now. Podcast is going mainstream.
Global, right?
Global. Golden Globes.
There you go.
Yes.
It's a week after from that one thing that we talked about.
So this new annual category debuting on the 83rd annual event. So it would be January 11, 2026.
That's cool because it's like it will have to have any categories, right? Like not just best podcast, but probably best podcast in health, finance.
I think for right now it's just best podcast, and it's kind of like introducing them into the world. Like the Emmys, Golden Globes, awards. Like obviously there's so many people in that industry that you're able to go off and section into subcategories. I do see that in the future though, having like the best, mental health podcast, the best business podcast award. That would be really cool to see. So definitely, if you are a podcaster or you want to vote on your favorite podcast, nominate them, go to the Golden Globes homepage to find out more about it. And, the more you participate, the more they see that it's becoming popular. I do see in the near future those categories opening up. So if you are one like me to say, well, obviously it's going to be going to a celebrity podcast, which Now there's multiple categories. So maybe we can put the celebrities in their own bracket and be like public front-facing act. You know, anybody who has done television can be in their own little series spin-off podcast.
Oh yeah.
Like
'Cause
award.
that makes sense. Just to have like a separate from like the smaller podcast that's still trying to, be out there.
Yeah, because I
everyone.
can see if they split it up into categories, then they're going to split theirs up into categories based on what is available so they can get an award. Sorry, hate to say it is what it is, but yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's a possibility that's gonna happen. But I'm also thinking like, what if there's gonna be like a type of Golden Globes, but like just for podcasting? Maybe that way, like, you can have the separation of like the public front face and celebrities.
We do have podcasting awards, but they're a little bit on a smaller scale. It's not, huge like the Emmys or the Golden Globes.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. Maybe in the next 5 years.
5 years.
5 to 10. Maybe 5. Just like, let's go 3 to 7. 3 to 7.
3 to 7.
It's a good number.
This is a start, Golden Globes. This is a start.
It's a start. So you heard it here first, guys. Keep up with the podcasting and nominate yourself. You never know.
Yeah.
Before we go into our guest segment, we do have to talk about a Podbean software highlight. And it's something that I do want to speak on because we will have a live webinar to cover a lot of it too. And, let's take a second to show some love to Podbean's feature, Dynamic Ad Insertion. A lot of people call it DAI, Dynamic Ad Insertion. So it's basically plug and play. So Podbean's Dynamic Ads lets you insert ads before, during, or after your episodes without re-uploading your audio. So if you've got evergreen content, you can keep the sponsorship money flowing because you can put in your own ads. And the best part, it works retroactively. So you can update ads from the past episodes. So for instance, a video I had in 2021 could be making money today in 2025. And that's the best part about dynamic ad insertion is that it goes all the way back to the start. You can edit, you can put it in, take it out.
Or maybe you're promoting your own thing, like a merch, tour, or maybe your Patreon page. Dynamic ads let you target what your listeners hear and when they hear it. So it's basically podcasting, but with control issues. In the best way.
Oh, I love me some control issues, baby. No, I'm kidding. But obviously, dynamic ad insertion is vital to making money. It could also make you the most money. And the way that you can know more about dynamic ad insertion, I would definitely sign up for our live webinar this Thursday, the live webinar at 5:30. Link in the bio. We have been promoting it. Dynamic ad insertion. Stay up to date, get to know more, know how to implement. We got you. So please help me welcome Mr. Tim Truax. Woo!
Hey, how's it going?
Happy Wednesday. How are you doing this afternoon?
Phenomenal. It's beautiful out here where I live in Calgary, and I'm excited to be here with you guys. I've been a Podbean user for my entire decade of podcasting, so it's really great to be on Amplified here.
Oh, wow.
That's so
really
awesome. That's really cool to hear, and congratulations on a decade. It's hard to pick up a hobby. It's hard to keep a hobby, but to maintain it for that long. You are a podcaster. It is you. You are him.
Yeah, I love it.
So obviously you've been podcasting for a decade now with the Nerd Room focusing on pop culture topics like Star Wars and Marvel. How has the podcasting landscape changed since you started, and how have you adapted since?
Oof, that's a big question, and I think we can we can look at it from a couple different lenses. I think, and there's my personal perspective, me being a hobbyist podcaster, creator myself, and then there's the kind of the wider, the broader scope when it comes to the industry. I'll start from my personal experience, and like I said, again, coming from that hobbyist perspective, I edit everything myself. I produce it, I record it. And I think over the last decade, we've seen so many advances for that hobbyist podcaster, that creator, to create really great content without having to break the bank, which has been really cool. So that's really the gear that's really kind of brought us up to that, whether it's access to affordable microphones, a lot of the online software that has made, I guess, really post-pandemic has made the accessibility of things like video recording and live streaming. It's made that a lot more affordable, and things like in-studio recording remotely. You can interview anyone anywhere and get studio quality audio from it, which has been just phenomenal. And to see myself going from in-person recording, the Skype recordings in the early days of the pandemic, to now where you can get the studio quality audio out, it's been unreal to see how the creative process has evolved for me personally, because accessibility to tools, and then now even with AI really coming into the mix of things with regards to editing and your copy and efficiency in what you're doing. You know, I used to spend hours doing my podcast, and now I'm at a point where I can spend maybe an hour and a half, and I can pump out a 45-minute high quality episode with no problems, including video clips for socials and all that now. And that's changed quite dramatically over the last 10 years or so. And then from like this macro industry scale, it's just changed dramatically. When you go from the early days of even that 2015 podcasting, where we hadn't really had the insertion of this large follower base kind of celebrity podcasting, we've seen a lot of that enter in 2018 or so. I like to call it the portfolio podcasting, where podcast became very much a part of a bigger media campaign. And then even today, when you look at the analytics side of things from an industry perspective, I really think we're moving from the age of the download being that metric to the age of engagement, where engagement being the key metric behind podcast success is really what matters. The downloads are becoming less significant. It's more about the community you're building and activating that community in a real tangible and robust way. I think that's the big things that I've seen in the last 10 years, between kind of the gear and then also the mindset. The intent of podcasting has changed. It's mainstream now. It went from being something small, a form of entertainment, to now one of the most powerful mediums on planet Earth.
Yeah,
That is true.
definitely.
You took over PodSummit with your wife, Sydney. What inspired you to acquire it and revitalize the conference? And what do you envision for the future?
Yeah, so the story I like to tell with regards to PodSummit and why we purchased it, rebranded it, and relaunched it here in Canada is it really comes down to why I was a podcaster to begin with, and that was to build a community. I wanted to share pop culture. I wanted to share my experiences in things like Marvel and Star Wars with other people, and I wasn't finding that in my day-to-day, and so I saw podcasting as an opportunity to build a community, to create a collective experience and a shared experience amongst people that loved things like Marvel and Star Wars. And we were really successful at that, and we had a lot of fun with that. We looked at the space, the podcasting space in Canada, and we said, what if we took that initial concept of my podcast and amplified that out and created an event really that could bring together the wider podcast community. There's some pockets of it that happen in Canada, but it's nothing like what's going on in the States with regards to podcast events and conferences. And so we saw a gap here coming out of the pandemic, and we said, we think that we can create something that is more than even a conference. We like to refer to it as an event, as a gathering, as somewhere where we can have a shared experience amongst creators, storytellers, and podcasters. And so that was really the mission, was to create a community and then build that community into a point where it is now and can support the future growth inside of podcasting, specifically in Canada.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
No, I do love that. And so it obviously leads me into my next question. PodSummit is aiming to bridge that gap between hobbyists and professionals in the industry. So how do you facilitate meaningful connections and collaborations among them, among the attendees? Like, what is your goal? How do you do that? What is your vision for that?
Yeah, that's one of the things that we've strived towards creating and putting a lot of focus on. And for me, fundamentally, it's coming back to that idea of shared experience. I think that is the easiest way to break down barriers between different groups of podcasters. I know sometimes there's these silos of the hobbyist or the independent podcaster and the industry podcaster. I think fundamentally, we're all storytellers, whether you're behind the microphone, whether you're in production, whether you're a part of the ancillary, larger, bigger scope of what podcasting is as an industry. We're all fundamentally storytellers and have this innate connection to wanting to put and amplify, different people's stories or our own stories out there. And so I think that's one, how we treat everyone. We don't kind of really separate that out, but we are cognizant of that idea existing. And so then it comes back to this idea of a shared experience. If people can have a shared experience across a 1 or 2 days with some really awesome content, things like receptions, live podcast recordings, we can break down a lot of those barriers, because I think fundamentally everyone is seeking for a community, and the community to me is built on the idea of shared experience. And coming in and out of that, I've seen so many things from last year where people I know didn't know each other, that are now collaborating, that are now creating podcasts together, that are now coaching each other, supporting each other on LinkedIn and on the socials and all that. And so it's really cool to see, once you put people into a room and you give them an experience and a shared experience, what coming out the other side looks like, because now they can reflect back on that. And we have that point. And that's why we're so focused on the idea too of in person, because we believe that connection through, whether it's a handshake or a hug or whatever, is so important. And once you've had that, it's a lot easier to jump on a call and just say, hey, I'm looking for some help. I'm looking for some insight. And so it's breaking down those barriers for very, very simple and fundamental ideas, but it's about creating that space where people can come together and have those experiences first and then move forward from there.
That is incredible.
Awesome.
It's all about community for sure.
Love that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. Community is the word.
I can definitely attest to the experience of a large gathering of people. We went to NAB, which is, it wasn't like podcasting forward, but we can see the sense of conventions and how they're very separated. And it's like, if you want to be approached, come up to me in my booth, or like there's very few intermingling, I would say, and more of like business offerings, handshakes, and
networking.
Like, what can you give to me right off the jump, instead of just having a unique conversation? Like, we're all podcasters, we're all here. Like, how can we help each other? How can we move the needle forward? What ideas do you have that I don't? And what ideas do I have that you don't? And would you be willing to exchange?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think it's just having that conversation, that idea of rising tides lift all ships. Like, it's, the success of one is the success of all, is what I can see from the community here. And as the community grows stronger and those connections grow tighter, and we have the ability to even welcome in different and more diverse voices too, that just expands the idea of what the community can actually deliver and support itself on.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's super cool.
So, balancing multiple roles for being a podcaster and a conference organizer, how can you manage your time and creativity across different projects?
It's hard. It's as anyone that has creative ventures, they can attest to the idea of it being a difficult thing. And one, I would have to say, having a very understanding and forgiving partner helps. when seeking kind of all these different creative endeavors, that really helps. My wife is super supportive of all of this. And I think too, the couple of things that I kind of guide myself on when I'm trying to manage things. I consider myself a multitasker, but recognize that the idea of multitasking means that you never put 100% focus on a single item or a single thing. And so to break away from that, I try to do like time compartmentalization, where I'm working on this one thing for this one period of time and everything else kind of goes by the wayside. That doesn't always work. So one of the other things that I like to try to do is, and I think this is where multitasking can hinder some people, because you find yourself never fully completing or being successful in a certain task or goal. And so what I try to do is measure myself not on completion of tasks in a certain time frame, but merely just on forward progression. Am I moving these projects forward? Am I able to, balance my work life, PodSummit, and podcasting? Yes, because I can see general forward progression on everything that I'm doing. And that's how I have to measure success. Once you start getting down to kind of ticking boxes or writing these, really long to-do lists and never really getting all of it kind of redlined out, you kind of see yourself as not being successful. But if you're just look at it and say, am I further ahead today than I was yesterday? If the answer is yes, that's forward progression. And that's what I really try to focus on is kind of attacking life in that way, because outside of that, it becomes very difficult to manage everything. And I think too, focusing on some of those, and as creatives, we all kind of fall into this where you have 10 different things going on at once. I have a tendency to I'll say, okay, today or this moment, this thing is stuck in my head. I have to get it out and on paper and then work iteratively through it as well. And so what I mean by that is that have you ever written an email and you're like, oh, this sounds great. And then you come back to it a day later, you're like, I'm so thankful I did not send that because it sounds horrible. Or written something, you're like, this is a great podcast episode. You write all the notes out and then you're like, whoa, I'm really happy I didn't sit and record that because it would have just been brutal. And so the iterative process is important too, from a creative standpoint, is just get something down and then revisit it again, maybe dump it into ChatGPT. See what ChatGPT has to say. Like kind of always massaging this before getting to that end goal. Like rushing to that end goal is sometimes the most difficult part. You're just trying to tick it off the list. I think going through and being iterative and mindful of the time it takes to actually flesh something out in detail, that's super important as well. So in a very roundabout way, I try to multitask, but I'm not always successful, but I have these little things that I use to try to help me manage through that. And then again, coming back to the idea of how you measure your success in a day, forward progression is super important to me.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. I'm one of those multitaskers as well. But it's almost crippling. It's like I have so much
hard
to do. I'd rather just sit on the couch and take a nap because I'm so overwhelmed by the thoughts of either starting, finishing, or like starting, continuing, or finishing a project. I'm glad that you said that because I'm like, I'm the worst creator ever.
Well, no, it's you just got to feel it out. Like I said, it's just moving forward. My wife will attest to this too. I whether it's in the house or in podcasting or whatever, I've always got 10 or 15 things on the go. And, I'm just moving around to those things as my brain allows me, because you're going to hit a creative wall at some point too, right? And the worst thing you can do is continue to bang your head against that wall. It's like, take a break from it, pause, move on to something else, and then come back to that. Like, I think that iterative piece of it is just been so helpful for me, especially in podcasting, because you can have a great idea one day and the next day you're like, well, that just didn't work out. And you just got to keep kind of moving through that and just, take the hits as they come and just learn from kind of some of the setbacks too.
Well, thank you so much, Tim, for your knowledge. Please shout yourself out. Tell everybody where they can find you. Obviously, they can find your podcast, The Nerd Room, on Podbean.
Yes,
love it so much. But we would also love to know about any other projects you have going on, and also PodSummit.
Absolutely. So PodSummit's an easy one. You can find it everywhere on socials, just at PodSummit. Our main social outlets are Instagram and LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a really cool, nice little tip for podcasters. That's like an untapped resource there. And so we've been using that a lot. Our website is podsummit.com. And for my podcast stuff on the Nerd Room, you can find everything at the Nerd RM, short form for room. And you go to the nerdroom.net. You can see what we're doing there. We're prepping for a big July. We've been on a couple week hiatus, just getting ready for the onslaught of movies like Fantastic Four and Superman and all that. And so we're going to have a really great summer inside of the Nerd Room, just talking and having some fun around this space. So I appreciate, Podbean and everything that you guys do. I love the show here. And thanks so much for having me.
No, thank you so much. We appreciate your loyalty and your time for even being on the show, giving some insight to PodSummit and to the experience of a podcaster for a decade. So congratulations on that feat, because I was 2 months in and I'm taking a hiatus. So it's good on you.
You gotta get over that hump.
Yeah, no, for sure. But thank you. Have a wonderful day, and PodSummit. Sign up. PodSummit.com. Ladies and gentlemen, PodSummit is happening, and it's happening quick. If you're in the Canada area, northern hemisphere of the United States, way north, because Calgary is kind of far. Not too far, though. Plane ride away. Definitely check out podsummit.com. Look it up. Check out Tim's podcast, The Nerd Room, or The Nerd RM. He talks about Marvel. He talks about Star Wars. Me, personally, I'm into the Marvel Rivals. I've been playing that on my PC very heavily. Nice. Ranked.
Oh.
But yes, very interesting stuff. He's been podcasting for a decade, a lot of information. Check out PodSummit, give it some love, give it a follow. Genuine to the podcasting community, and you heard it straight from the owner's mouth. It's been real, it's been fun, it's been real fun. Oh yeah. Catch us next time on Podbean Amplified, where we will be interviewing someone very special on a marketing team from a company that you may or may not use. And that's all we're going to say. Until next time.
Bye.